Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining me. It is Monday, December 1st, 2025. On this 335th day of the year, we are carefully tracking a significant winter storm. This system is currently impacting areas from Omaha and Lincoln down to Kansas City, and its path is set towards Iowa, Springfield, Illinois, Indianapolis, and possibly even Cincinnati and Columbus. Those of you in these areas should prepare for some snowfall. Right now, the storm is causing considerable disruption in the Kansas City area. I have been monitoring the traffic cameras, and I must say it is a very difficult scene this morning in Kansas City. This system is now tracking to the east. Let us now examine what the radar is forecasting for later today. This model shows what we can expect around 3 o'clock this afternoon, when snow will likely begin to fall near St. Louis. At about the same time, folks in Springfield, up to Bloomington and Chicago, can also expect the snow to arrive. The most significant snowfall is expected in northern Missouri, perhaps reaching towards Davenport, and the storm should begin to taper off in Kansas City around that time. Additionally, we are watching for frozen precipitation farther south, particularly around Springfield and Joplin, and down toward Little Rock. There is a threat of ice in that region today, which we will discuss in greater detail momentarily. Now, let us move forward in time and look at the forecast for 8 o'clock this evening. That is when the heaviest snow is anticipated in St. Louis. At the same time, we will see snow on the back edge of the system affecting Springfield, Missouri. This is also when the snowfall will truly begin in Indianapolis, and we will be seeing a mixture of precipitation here in Louisville, Kentucky, shifting between rain and snow. The same conditions are expected in Cincinnati. However, if the precipitation does change entirely to snow in places like Poplar Bluff and Senath, and along the Ohio River, that transition will likely bring a period of heavy, wet snow, even if it is for a short time. Still, it does appear that the most impactful snow, and the longest-lasting snow, will occur farther north, in areas from Indianapolis up toward Columbus. And yes, our friends in Chicago and over to Detroit will be affected once again by this fast-moving system. Then, as we look ahead to 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, there is a potential for some heavy snow here in Louisville. Even as far south as Nashville, Tennessee, you may see a very quick, light dusting of snow as the system moves out tomorrow morning. Here in my home area of eastern Kentucky, it appears we will see mostly rain, although we do expect some snow on the back end of the system as well. At this time, Cleveland and Columbus will be experiencing some periods of heavy snow. Then, as this storm system crosses the Appalachian Mountains and moves toward the northeast, the storm system is expected to intensify slightly. As you can see, there are strong storms developing over the ocean, and all of this moisture is being drawn up into the colder portion of the storm. This will bring heavy rain along the Interstate 95 corridor, from Washington, D.C., and Baltimore, up through New York and toward Boston. Just inland from there, we will see heavy snow. So, wherever that rain-snow line establishes itself, if you are on the snow side of that line, you will experience very heavy snowfall during the day tomorrow. This forecast shows 11 o'clock in the morning, then noon, and then 1 o'clock in the afternoon. By 1 o'clock, we could be seeing very heavy snow in Scranton and Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, up toward Binghamton and Albany, New York, and of course, up here in the Berkshires, as well as the White and Green Mountains, and the Poconos. I anticipate all of these areas will receive significant snowfall. Even up into Maine, you will see some very heavy bands of snow from this system. Then, the event will conclude by about 5 o'clock in the morning on December 3rd, leaving behind only some lingering flurries as the storm finally moves away. Now, allow me to zoom out on the map to show you the full progression one more time. Please find your location on the map and watch as this system unfolds. It is certainly an impactful storm, but it is also moving very quickly. For that reason, it does not appear that we will see extremely high snow totals from this event. This will not be as significant a winter storm as the last one we experienced, particularly here in the Midwest and the Ohio Valley. However, on the lower end of the estimates, I do want to state that this is a fairly conservative forecast. We are looking at the national blend of models, and it is certain that some locations will receive more snow than what is shown here. But to be realistic with a baseline amount, I believe we could see up to 3 inches of snow in northern Missouri. We could see 3 inches of snow in Kansas City by the time the storm has passed. Up around Chicago, I also anticipate a possibility of 3 inches of snow, and it would not surprise me if a few places see 4 inches. 2 to 3 inches will be possible in Indianapolis. Even down here toward Louisville, Kentucky, I believe we could receive 2 inches of snow. A range of 2 to 3 inches is also possible in Cincinnati. And over here in Columbus, that area can expect 2 or 3 inches as well. Then, as we look toward Cleveland, we can begin to discuss totals of perhaps 2 to 4, or even 3 to 6 inches of snow. The entire state of Pennsylvania, particularly in the higher elevations, is a good candidate for 3 to 6 inches of snow, with the exception of the Philadelphia area, where it appears to be a mostly rain event. In upstate New York, north of Albany, we are looking at a potential for 7, 8, or even 9 inches of snow, and please remember, this is a conservative estimate. There will be many locations that likely end up with around a foot of snow by the time this is all over in the Northeast. The area of greatest impact for this event is located northwest of the Interstate 95 corridor, stretching from the Poconos of Pennsylvania up through the Catskills, the Berkshires in Massachusetts, and on up through Maine. This is where I believe we could see a solid 8 to 12 inches of snow not along the coast, but in the interior Northeast. That region will see the highest accumulations from this storm. Now, just south of the snow line in a few areas, we do need to discuss the potential for ice, and we are about to explore that in much greater detail. But first, I would like to acknowledge today's valued sponsor, Factor Meals. Their motto is, "Healthy eating made simple." Now, many of you watching are very proactive. When severe weather is on the way, you have a safety plan in place because you believe in being prepared, not scared. However, when it comes to dinner time, I must admit that I often find myself without a plan. Too frequently, I am left to figure it out at the last minute. As we know, that is not always the best approach for our budget or our health, but that is where today's sponsor can be a wonderful help. Factor meals are fresh, never frozen, and they are ready in just 2 minutes. These meals are nutritious and can be tailored to a wide variety of health goals, with options such as high protein, calorie smart, and gluten-free choices that are also free from low-quality seed oils and refined sugars. And now, Factor offers even more to choose from. They have doubled the size of their menu to over 80 rotating weekly meals, with 3 times more new chef-crafted options than before. In addition to that, there is now more variety than ever, including salmon and shrimp, and new high-protein options like beef fillets, turkey, and meatballs. I encourage you to visit their website at factor75.com or click the link at the top of the description below and use the code HALLYALLFB50 for 50% off your first order, plus free breakfast for a year. That is HALLYALLFB50 at factor75.com with the link at the top of the description, and you will receive 50% off your first order plus free breakfast for an entire year. A sincere thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video. We genuinely appreciate their support. I know many of you are already fans as well. If you have not tried it yet, I highly recommend you do. The link is at the top of the description. Now, let us return to our weather discussion. Let's examine a conservative outlook for potential ice accumulation. You can see there is a clear area of concern here in the Appalachian Mountains, specifically in the south-central Appalachians. We are forecasting up to a 1/4 inch of ice accumulation as we move into the day tomorrow. This threat covers the Blue Ridge Mountains and the Shenandoah Valley, extending from western North Carolina up through western Virginia and Maryland, with the greatest risk appearing right on the border of Virginia and West Virginia. I believe there will be many places that receive more than a 1/4 inch of ice over a short period. That amount of ice will accumulate on tree limbs and power lines and will likely cause some power outages. Now, we also have a threat of ice back in Arkansas that is developing today, even as you are watching this video. I expect this will be slightly less impactful than the situation in the Appalachian Mountains, but it will still be a significant icing event. And please, do not underestimate even a glaze of ice, as it can be quite impactful. It can cause dangerous road conditions and accidents, and may even lead to some scattered power disruptions. So please bear that in mind. Now, it is interesting to note that just south of this ice, there will be rain. And south of the rain, we actually have a threat for some severe weather. There is a marginal risk of severe weather for an area from Mobile, Alabama, down to Apalachicola, Florida. Within this area, there is a very slight overnight tornado threat. I want to specifically highlight the corridor along Interstate 10. If you live in Pensacola or Panama City, it is very important that you have a way to receive weather alerts tonight, as I do believe there is a small but present chance for some strong storms to move through. Let us return to the future radar display. While Cincinnati, Columbus, Indianapolis, and Detroit are being heavily impacted by bands of snow, we will see supercell thunderstorms attempting to form down over the Gulf of Mexico. These storms will then slowly drift north toward the coast of Florida. They will be capable of producing hazardous conditions, such as waterspouts over the Gulf, and as they move ashore, they will have the potential to produce tornadoes. This will be an isolated threat, but unfortunately, it appears the timing will be from approximately midnight to 6 o'clock in the morning, right when most people are asleep. Again, please ensure you have a reliable way to receive weather alerts in that area. And then, The next major story after this storm passes will be the arrival of very cold air. Look at this very large area of extremely cold air that is poised to move in after the storm departs. It will essentially open the gates for Arctic air to pour down from the North Pole into the upper Midwest, the Northern Plains, and the Great Lakes region. Temperatures could be 40 degrees below average in northwestern Iowa, around Fort Dodge. This will be some of the coldest air we have experienced in some time, and it looks as though it will linger for a while. This cold air will make its way down to St. Louis, Kansas City, and Chicago as well, leading to some very cold nights, and you can see how it even spreads over into the Northeast as we head toward the weekend. So, what will these temperatures actually feel like? Well, on Wednesday morning at 7 o'clock, the temperature will be in the teens here in Lexington, Kentucky. The temperature will be around 20 degrees in Indianapolis, but that is not the coldest of the air. Watch as that large mass of Arctic air descends into the upper Midwest. On Thursday morning, and please note, this is the actual air temperature, not the wind chill. It is forecast to be 20 degrees below zero in Fort Dodge. That is a dangerous, life-threatening cold, even for those of you who are accustomed to harsh winters. Even for those of you who are accustomed to the cold, temperatures could potentially reach -10 degrees in Minneapolis and St. Paul. There will be a considerable portion of North and South Dakota that will experience temperatures 10 degrees below average, and multiple places will approach 20 degrees below average. So please keep that in mind. This is a life-threatening cold, and it is going to be with us for at least a couple of days, before we begin to see any relief. Now, while it may not be a life-threatening cold for the entire period, the next 10 days are going to continue to be below average in the Great Lakes region, over into the Northeast, and for nearly the entire eastern half of the country, with the exception of Florida. Meanwhile, we will continue to see that large ridge of high pressure build in the west, bringing with it warmer than average temperatures, from San Francisco up to Seattle and over to Salt Lake City. So that is the weather pattern that we are currently in. We do not know when we will get out of it, and it does not look like it will be anytime soon. This situation will continue to provide opportunities for snow. We are focused on this storm right now, but in my next video, we will talk about the next potential significant snowstorm for areas east of the Rocky Mountains. Now, that is essentially all of the weather information I have for you today. So, please be sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn notifications on, just in case we decide to provide a live broadcast. But if I do not go live for this storm, Yabot is doing a wonderful job. There are about 1,000 people watching right now, and it is relaying all the information about closed roads, and showing the traffic cameras and things of that nature. So, you can search for YBA on YouTube. It is on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Otherwise, I will see you in the next update. Goodbye.